Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of Day 4 with the man Frank Scalish.
We are back in action.
I wasn't exactly sure what my schedule was going to be like today. And I guess I should have probably cleared that with you because I know we talked about last week what was going on. But yeah, we're back live, and then I'm jumping on a plane headed out to sunny Southern California this afternoon.
Beautiful, man. You're going to catch some waves.
Actually I am. Court's sister is getting married, but
perfect.
Her and her fiance Joey, they run a bodyboarding camp, a year-round bodyboarding camp. So he's like a professional bodyboarder.
Perfect.
So if you could just picture laid back, mellow, SoCal bodyboarder dude, that's who Joey is. And so they're doing a beach wedding. So It involves just a light shirt and a pair of Hey Dudes. And because no shoes on the beach.
Money.
That's money. Super easy.
Yeah, I like that. That's the way to have it. Easier the better.
And then since she's a flight attendant, we fly standby out there, so no flight cost.
Oh gosh.
It's a hell of a deal. It's like a like a great weekend in California.
That's a good deal, man. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yep. And then I see that. And then so I get back from that on what is today? My schedule's nuts, Frank, for this next.
Dude, I got part of your schedule written down, but I can't keep up with my own.
Today's the 19th. Yours. So then California the 20th through the 23rd, and then the 25th. So I'm home one day, and then the 25th I head up to the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame, which we have some business attend to there, Frank. Some really big business. If you guys haven't listened to the show yesterday, Epic Eric came on, Juice from Juice's Jigs. Bass Fishing Hall of Fame auction opens Friday, 9 a.m. Central Time. Your chance to get your hands on some very rare, one-of-a-kind, hand-painted, hand-signed, hand everything from Frank Scalish, from a bunch of different guys there. So we'll put the link in the show for that, but we'll get to that later. So then we go to the Hall of Fame, the 25th, 26th, and 27th.
Which the
get 20... back the.
Okay, so
the 26th, there's no show.
Okay.
No show.
And then the 3rd.
And then the 3rd, there's no show. No. 26th, there's no show. Yeah, and the 3rd, there's no show.
Okay, so we're going to have to do something here. Oh, boy. We're going to have to do something here, guys.
My door just opened and it was completely closed.
You have ghosts, man.
Yeah, it's a little odd.
All right, so if the 3rd is no show.
I didn't even think about that. Dude, this is working on the fly right here.
Right, so if the 3rd is no show, you guys have to remember, you better keep your eyeballs open for the next Signature Series drop, because it drops the first Thursday of every month.
Oh, I am doing a live show from the Sunline factory in Japan.
Perfect. On the 3rd? Well, it doesn't matter when you do it.
Mostly, yes, either on the 2nd or the 3rd.
Okay, so just remember to announce the signatures drop.
Yeah, we'll get you on. It's a 12-hour time difference, so you can just set your alarm for 3 a.m.
Oh, God almighty. Here I was like, ooh, I got Thursdays to go fishing, man.
Yeah. No, I was kidding. You can actually do that. Yeah, no, I didn't even think about that in advance, to be quite honest with you, Frank.
That's okay. We're
got all the momentum going with these BTLs over the last month or so. And
they've been good shows, Matt. I've watched every one, even the marathon show. Every minute of it, actually. Good shows, really good shows. Yesterday's show was great. Epic Eric's great. I love that guy, man.
He does. Let's get into it. We've showed it before. The time is nigh. Is that how the saying goes? The time is nigh.
The time is now.
Time is nigh.
Yeah, you could put it up.
Nearly or almost about to happen. Yes. The time is nigh.
It's nigh. And how do we spell that nigh?
N-A-I.
A-I?
No, N-I-G-H.
NIGA.
The phrase "time is 9" means that something is nearly or almost about to happen.
Excellent. We learn
like
something
the
new
world.
You learn something new
nigh.
every day on BTL. Just remember that, gang.
Tomorrow, the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame auction opens, and it is open through the 26th. So it is open September 20th through September 26th. I don't know exactly when the cutoff date on the 26th is.
It's cutoff time, you mean?
Yeah, but it's a silent auction online. They raise over $100,000 every year for the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame. 100% of the proceeds go to that. Scholarships, grants, habitat reconstruction, and then maintaining and developing, designing all of the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame, like physical things in the wonders of wildlife at Johnny's Palace in Springfield, Missouri.
Perfect.
So we showed this last week.
Yeah, you got to support that organization that you guys like. You know what I mean? We love bass fishing. We love everything about it. Support it. It's a good cause.
So I can put the direct link in. This, I think, was on the third page there. But these are a couple of the angles of it. You went through what it is last week, but one more week, just really hammer home the point of what the people are bidding on here, Frank.
Okay, so when I paint baits, I paint original colors. I keep a couple for myself so I have something to draw back on, and I keep the paint formula, and I send the company a couple of hand painted baits with the paint formula in order. It's like a paint by numbers. My mixes, my ratios, everything. And then, so they have originals to look at, plus they have the paint formula. And so I always keep some originals. Okay. So if something were to happen, I have a backup or two. And if I have to recreate one, I could recreate one if something were to happen. So I thought it would be really cool to put my originals in a shadow box. These are actually what the company would get. I hand painted them. I signed the bottoms of them all. I didn't sign the side because as an artist, I don't want to ruin the art. So
yeah, I like the bottom. It looks amazing.
Yeah, so I signed the bottom of them, and basically what I wanted to do, because I didn't want to have a hodgepodge of baits in this shadow box, so I took my 4 new craw colors. Each one of these colors will be featured, or have been already. Some of them have been featured in the Signature Series lineup. So you're actually going to have the originals to the Signature Series ones. And so I kept the crayfish together because honestly, I think crayfish patterns really look pretty cool.
Oh, they're badass.
Yeah, they're so cool. And so the reality of it is everything about the shadow box. I didn't make the actual box, but I made the insert.
you went out and felled the tree.
Yeah, I cut the tree and
with an axe, hewed the logs.
That's right.
Planer board.
Exactly. No, I didn't make the box itself, but the insert inside the box I made. So if you keep that angled picture there.
Foam.
So here's the theory behind it. So I stacked foam core in the bottom of the box enough so the straight pins that are holding the bills in place are actually touching the glass. This way the baits won't roll around in there. They're solid. They're sturdy in there. I wanted it because I needed to make it durable to ship. You know what I'm saying? And if something were to happen, like one of them came loose in shipping, you can pull the bottom out and you'll get the whole stack. Everything's connected to each other.
Yeah, typically this would be at the auction at the Hall of Fame, but the less the worldwide traveling this does, the better. So Frank will be sending it to you after the auction's over.
Because I'm gonna have to put it in a box with a hard top on it so the glass doesn't break.
Dude, that is probably the most badass thing I've ever seen.
And you know what's crazy? After I did that, I'm like, holy shit, I should get all my baits that I painted for them and put them in shadow boxes.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, I don't have enough wall space.
That still would be badass. So you sent me a little bit of a description. Would you like to hear the actual description that is going to be on the auction item?
Yeah,
it's only a starting bid of $100, Frank.
Ooh, that hurts.
A starting bid. I said, this is a one-of-a-kind piece of art from the brilliant mind of professional angler and master lure designer and painter Frank Scalish.
Brilliant minds.
I'm a big fan of that opening line.
I think
too. That's a good one. Shadowbox contains 4 Norman crankbaits, hand-painted signature series. Each lure is a custom hand-painted original, personally signed by Frank. These patterns were created based on actual crayfish from Lake St. Clair. And then here's the part that we haven't really mentioned. The winner of this item will also get to co-host an episode of BTL Day 4 with Frank Scalish and Matt Pengrak. You can, if you win, we'll have a meeting. You can choose the topic of what we want to talk about. You can come on. We'll do the whole 9 yards, and then we'll just 3-box it. Or if there's a special guest, we could even 4-box it that you'd want to talk to. It's not an in-studio thing. I guess if you win and you happen to be in Oklahoma and you don't seem like a serial killer, you can come over and co-host it. But what? That's the truth. But other than that, there's like no travel expenses or anything. It's like the StreamYard co-host, right?
Yeah.
Additionally, Frank will provide his personal home address and a private 30-minute one-on-one coaching session breaking down the fishery of the winner's choice.
Did you forget about all the waypoints I have in my GPS from traveling?
Oh yeah,
the country?
Frank will also give you waypoints. All of his buddies' waypoints.
I don't have their waypoints. Oh my God, is that funny? That is so funny.
So that is on bassfishinghof.com. It is not live yet. It goes live tomorrow at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. I believe. It's not like one of those things that's going to sell out. It's a silent auction. So
yeah, you're gonna bid on it. Dude, when you're bidding on them, you see the last price clearly.
That's a revelation right there.
I've been selling your waypoints for years. No,
Frankie Jr.
No wonder I don't have any secret spots anymore.
Frankie Jr.'s he might need to detox. I feel like he's been watching too much fishing content on the interwebs. He was on yesterday's show, was 2 hours, and I was on Baxter the Baitman last night where we talked about purple jerkbaits for 2 hours. He was on that. Now he's back on this morning.
That's good, man. It's good. It does a body good. Fish talk.
Oh, dude. That might be. Hold on. That might be one of the best ideas.
Oh, no.
No. So, like the back of that shadow box, can you put this picture on it?
Yeah, if you send it to me.
I don't know how I got this picture. This is an actual.
That was from the classic.
Remember
that guy had them, and
he did. He was giving them away.
I mean, if you don't want to part with that, don't.
I'm not going to part with this one, but how did he get it that good?
Probably printed it on photo paper.
What is this says Fujifilm. Like, I think he went to like Walgreens and printed it out.
Well, I don't have it, so I can't print it.
Okay, I'll have to figure out. You don't have the original either or anything? Just whatever's online is whatever's online.
Yeah, I don't have that. Yeah, we
Did you see what? Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
Did you see what slid into? I don't know if it's made. I don't think it's made its rounds on the internet yet, but it's about to. I got to show it when we're talking about pictures, especially after last week's show.
I did not see it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you do.
I'm scared.
Oh, you should be.
As usual.
So, what did you do last week? You had a meltdown on the show about the jet skier, right?
Oh yeah. I did. And then can I say who did that?
Do not say who did that, because I'm not sure where it's going to show up, and then if it shows up, people can put the pieces of the puzzle together. But a loyal listener did it.
A loyal listener said he had the similar experience, but he got a picture of the assailants.
He did. I just sent it to my email. We'll see if it works. So what, if you remember the jet ski episode last week, so I fished the Thursday nighter.
Oh, dude, right? I saw that picture with the wake boat.
And we had just had that show, and I'm like, man, I'm glad that I'm not like Frank. I'm glad that I can just come out and enjoy a peaceful evening on the water and not let other people impact my happiness. And so you pay your entry fee. I'm fishing by myself, and you go to your spot. You can make first cast at 6. So it's 5:32. I got the country music jamming. I stopped by and picked up a couple of tall boys. So, I mean, just all is right in the world, right? I got a pile that I scanned over, and I'm like, yep, there's one in there. Perfect. Spot lock it, nice breeze, just literally sitting on the back deck like this, just going, you know what? It's a good evening.
Just waiting for the clock to say go.
Shit you not, Frank. I can't say that. I kid you not, Frank.
Well, you already said it.
At 5:56 on a lake where there are no boats, a legitimately ballast weighted wake boat decides to tow half the neighborhood around directly back and forth in front of me where my brush pile is.
Oh my God.
It's the only stretch of lake. So I posted it. I said, I'm about to pull a Frank Scalish here.
I saw the post.
Oh my God, I haven't told you what happened, have I? I haven't told anybody what happened. So anyway, the boat's going, wah, wah, fire over there, nothing. I said, I can still see that sucker in there. Pitch a big worm in there, whack, about a 3 1/4 pounder.
All
Boat
right.
Flip it. So then I post a thing. I said, maybe the wave action generated the bite, just kind of as a joke. So then I go around, I catch another keeper. It's a 3 fish limit, about 10 or 12 boats, whatever, pays a couple $100. And so I've got 2. Then I'm scoping on one. I see it come up. I'm like, good Lord, that's a big one. I lean into it. First time in like 3 years this has happened. Line just breaks when I reel into it. It was 3, 4, 5 pounder. I'm like, what the hell? So I re-rig, whatever. Have another one. Probably like a 3 1/2, comes up, jumps, throws my bait. Come in, minnows rolled over, hook point's not even accessible. Like just one of those where when the fish grabbed it,
he just smushed it.
Yeah, he flipped the minnow over it back on. Anyway, long story short, we had an 8:15 check-in at 7:45. I've got 2 for like 4 1/4 pounds. At 7:45, see one on a dock, pitch over to it, eats it. 4 pounder comes up, tail walks, throws the bait.
Oh my God.
And I was by myself. It takes 10 pounds on 3 fish to win this thing every week. So I just put the rods in the rod box, chucked my 2 fish back, and went home. I had enough. But I had done that Instagram post. So one of the younger gentlemen who fishes sent me a post. He goes, you threw back big bass. And I said, what do you mean? I haven't told you this?
No.
I said, what do you mean? And he goes, dude, big bass was 2 pounds. And it took 3.70 pounds to win the entire tournament that night. So I legitimately,
you threw the win
without
away.
a doubt, 100% threw back big bass and the tournament winning satchel.
Oh my God.
And took it to the house.
All that because of a wake boat.
It was
in your
first
head.
And big bass. I would imagine there's not many times. I think guys have thrown back checks. I think guys have done that. I do not know anybody who has thrown back first place and big bass.
I can't believe that, dude. I can't even believe that.
Have you ever done that, Frank?
No, because I don't have the guts to do that. I've chucked fish back and didn't weigh in because I knew that I didn't have a prayer. But I never threw fish back that cost me a spot. You know what I mean? Um, most of the time, if you like if you're potlucking if you're potlucking a local derb, and you know who's fishing it, most of the time, you know the guys that are on them and not on them. And if you're trying, if you're, you know, if it's all in or no in, and you don't have it, why take the fish up through the line and go through all that just to, you know, say, hey, no, I didn't, I sucked today. Which actually brings me to oh, for God's sake. I quit. This is my last day for. Oh my God.
Just look at the look of satisfaction on Frankie Jr.'s face.
Like, he's like, yep, we just ran him off the water,
look
Dad.
At you. Look at you. I mean, that is quite possible. Why don't you describe that for all our iTunes listeners, Frank?
It is it is a black, red, and white jet ski, not unsimilar to the color scheme of the one that ran us down a couple days ago or a week or so ago. And that would be me driving the jet ski and Frankie hanging on to me. And
just looking happy as a clam. Good leg definition, though.
Well,
he's not missing leg day.
You know, no, not at all. Not, and I'm apparently not missing hair day either, except for today because there is no more hair. Oh my God, is that a funny picture? That is so funny. I can't even stand it. But yeah, I mean, you know, we damn it, Matt. We talk a lot about doing the right things on this show, fishing wise, making the right decisions. We talk about challenges on the water. So Tuesday, I don't know if you guys were aware of it, but Tuesday was a full moon. It was the harvest moon, and there was a partial lunar eclipse.
That's Tuesday. Cool.
Yeah. So it was like this. It was the coolest thing ever. I decided, because I've been cooped up in the house for 7 days painting and doing everything I do, that I need to go. I need to get outside. I got to get sun in my face. I can't, I'm not a mole. I got to have sunlight. So anyhow, I happened to call Frankie. He was working on his trailer fender. He put a new trailer fender on, came out mint. It's like factory. Anyway, I was talking to him and I'm like, hey, I'm going Wednesday. And he's like, where are you going? So I told him the name of the lake, and he's like, well, why on earth would you go there? And I said, because the beaver moon is coming soon. I said, well, because I want a challenge. Okay, the lake is stingy. I said, I want a challenge. And I said, it's really going to be kind of easy, because with the moon, you're going to have a lot more night feeding going on. So early in the morning, you're going to have an overlap of night feeders and day feeders. So it should put a lot more bass within range. Okay. So I said, it's really going to be pretty easy. If the lake's drawn down to winter pool, I'm going to go throw a square bill and a top water, run points, secondary points, 45-degree banks. It's not complicated. If the lake is, and then after that in the afternoon, I'll go structure fish, because with the lake lowered, a lot of the deeper structure now is, castable on top because it's shallow on top, and all the bait fish will be running the river channel edges right up against those offshore structures. So it should be pretty easy. And if the lake is at full pool, I'll structure fish all day. It's not going to be, I said it's not going to be hard. So the reality of it is, and this is the whole key to this story is when you do the wrong thing, you pay the price big time, in fishing. So it was an easy game plan. I had the rods rigged and on my deck for drawdown, and I had rods rigged and on my deck for structure fishing. No brainer. So I get to the ramp in the morning, and much to my surprise, there's only a couple of boat trailers in the parking lot. So I'm like, awesome. I'm going to have this whole place to myself. So I launched the boat, and I'm systematic in how I approach a lake, but I was fighting my game plan. And so there's a structural element very close to the launch ramp that I crushed them on. So I'm like, rather than pass it up when I run up the lake, rather than pass it up, let me just hit it real quick and see, because maybe I'll get an idea. So I started off on it, and I threw big crankbaits, Carolina rigs. I had my jig and minnows out, and off the structure, dude. There were so many fish on forward facing sonar that it was absolutely ludicrous. I could see big monster schools of shad and fish ripping through the shad. You know how on forward facing you see the shad go, "Woo." They all move, "Woo," and then you see the other fish streaking through them. Well, it was all white bass and hybrids, wipers. And so I caught a bunch of them doing that, and I said, well, let me get on top of this thing and throw the shallow baits and just see. And of course, I got on top of it, and I caught the same thing, white bass and hybrids. And so I'm like, this is ludicrous. Well, let me go and do what I got to do, because it's still early morning-ish out. The sun's not up yet. It's light out, but the sun's not up over the trees yet. So let me go do what I got to do. So I'm running over there, and I go, oh shoot, I can't pass this up because I catch them here. This is the history. This is history. Okay.
Yeah.
And my history on this lake, I've won a ton of tournaments on this lake. It's actually a structure fisherman's paradise where we live, because it offers you legitimate structure fishing. There ain't a blade of grass in the place. It's all rock and shale and river channels, and it is like
they're on something.
Yeah, it is. I cut my teeth structure fishing this place. So I whip over to this other place, and I start off of it, and all this structure is connected to the mainland, guys, because we know in the fall they're going to the bank. So I don't want to be in the middle of nowhere.
It's not like an island out there. It's
right.
Like a point or something that's attached so that they can follow the highway up to shallow and the shad get up there in the fall.
Correct. So I back off of it. I start fishing my way up to it. I catch a couple of white bass. I get towards where I can cast a square bill on top of it, and I catch a bass. It was only this big.
10-incher.
But I got a bass. It was a 10-incher. I got a bass. So, okay, let me follow it to the bank. So I follow it to the bank. I don't get another bite. And I said, okay, it's time to go. I fired up, and I'm running down the lake, and I go, oh, I can't pass this up. You know what I mean? I spin around, I go back, and I fish. I don't catch crap except for hybrids and white bass. And I'm like, okay, let me go. I got to go do what I do. And so I'm running down the lake, and I go, I always catch them here. I can't pass this up. And I stop, and I start structure fishing some more. Then I catch another little one, and I'm like, okay, maybe. I structure fished until 1:30 in the afternoon. And by the time I went to do what I should have done in the morning, it was over. Because here, look, the reality of it is with the moon, the drawdown, the bait fish, because the bait fish were from the bank all the way out to the main river channel, anywhere you went. It was polluted with them. The morning bite on the square bill in the top water would have been manna from heaven. And I structure fished myself out of the game yesterday. And I come in at the end of the day and I got 1 2-pound smallmouth, 1 pound, probably 4-ounce largemouth, and 6 or 7 little dinks. And I'm like sitting in the parking lot and I'm wiping the boat down and I'm like, I screwed myself out of the day so bad. I told Frankie exactly what I was going to do, and I did it exactly the opposite way. And I said, today I looked like I didn't know how to fish, truthfully. Now, catching those giant 8-pound and 9-pound hybrids was fun.
Dude, those are freaking awesome.
Okay,
let me ask you this, Frank. So this is what I hear. So I understand the game plan and all that, but you've also talked about like following your instincts or your gut. So like, how do you know the difference? I struggle with this. I think we all struggle with this. How do you know the difference between you've got a game plan, but then you see something or something tells you to go something? How do you know whether to go, oh, I'm going to follow my gut and check on it, or, oh, I'm going to go stick with my game plan? Because that to me is like really hard to figure out the difference between instinct and gut and game plan.
So what I wound up doing was fishing history.
Okay, so different.
Very different. I fished history. I knew the last time I was on the lake was 4 years ago.
Okay.
4 years ago, probably 3 weeks earlier than today.
Okay.
And I ran down there with no preconceived notions. The lake was on drawdown and I timed it. It was an impeccable timing. It was down about 2 feet and they were ripping water through the system. So much so that I can actually see small eddies around some of the high spots and points. Okay. So they were moving water. And I probably had about an 18 or 19-pound limit. And the guy that was fishing with me probably had a 16 or 17-pound limit. And so, and we caught him nonstop all day long. All right. I know from history when the lake goes drawdown exactly what to do and where to go. I also know from history that during the drawdown, some of the offshore that's connected to the mainland can be just as hot because all the fish aren't up there yet on the bank. Mm-hmm. The problem was, so I talked to a couple anglers. I talked to a couple anglers in the parking lot at the end of the day, and they struggled. I think one guy caught one.
Were they like, oh my God, Scalish on the pond?
No, I kept it was kind of low key.
Because that happened the entire time I fished with you up there.
Yeah, that was ludicrous, dude.
You're like, hey, who is this guy? Why is this guy coming over here? Who the hell is this guy? What the hell? Let's start casting crankbaits at him, and then you hear, is that Frank Scalish?
And then he goes, dude, is that Panger?
No, you had to tell him that I was with you. They did not. They wanted to see the Frank Scalish. Remember? Then he went home and got his buddy, and they were great dudes. We saw them throughout the entire day.
Oh, it was a ball bust. It was actually a lot of fun. But yeah, so they struggled too. Okay, so that doesn't mean anything because that doesn't mean anything. But
the key that you're saying there is it wasn't that you followed your gut was wrong. It was that you followed past history, and your gut was actually say follow the game plan that you came here with because of all the clues that you were seeing. Where the bait was that it was all the way back and you fought it. I got you.
I fought it every step of the way, and I knew I did because I literally launched the boat, ran around the corner, and I said, oh, I better hit this before I go anywhere else. And when I stopped the boat and put the trolling motor in the water, I said, I need to go up the lake. I don't know why I'm doing this. And I said, oh, it won't hurt. It'll only take a couple minutes. You know what I mean?
It turned into all of a sudden it was noon.
Right. All of a sudden, half the day was over, and I didn't
Dude, I think we've all done that. I think we've
yeah.
all done that 100% of the time. Is you put the boat in, you got a game plan, and all of a sudden you've just been running everywhere you've caught them in the past.
Yeah. I mean, when people say, "Oh, he's got history on the lake," it could help him, it could hurt him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
History on the lake helps you when you fish in the moment. History on the lake kills you when you fish the history.
Here's what I would love to see. So a tournament that I'm not fishing. So let's take like a BFL Super that's got 200 boats on it on a lake with a ton of history. There's got to be a way to do this. I want to take a community hole or a spot that is you feel is the biggest community hole on the lake or whatever. And then
see how many guys fish it.
And but not only that, from the practice through the tournament. So let's do 2 days of practice and a tournament. I would love to know how many boats
actually
go there, how much time was spent, how many casts were made, and how all the boats approach it.
Dude, that's badass, man.
Because I've fished in opens where I don't move. Like I'm on a point, I'm on a shell bed. One thing at you follow, I was on a shell bed. I literally spent 6 hours there. I would crank the motor every couple hours just to make sure it would still start. It was one of those deals, right? But it was at the mouth of a cove that had a line of docks in it.
I remember that. I remember
I talked about that, and I watched vessel after vessel after boat 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 come in at the same angle, drop the trolling motor at the same spot, I would just love to know the numbers on it on a major tournament weekend.
And you know what else I would like to know? How many bass were taken off that dock row?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because here, look, what if like the bass were in a negative mood and not feeding, and guys were fishing quick and not methodical, and then some dude lazily pulls in there in the afternoon and his hopes are dashed, so he's just going, I'm gonna just fish real slow and take my time, and then wham wham wham, and all of a sudden he's in it. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I would love to. I think those would be awesome numbers. Like this dock had 92 boats, 854 casts, and 7 fish caught off of it. There was 19 hours of time spent fishing it, and these are where the fish came off of on it at the times of the day and when.
Yeah, it would be cool to see that would be really cool. Now, structure fishing, they could get on the structure, move off the structure,
right,
or decide that at 11:28 is the feed bag, and if you're there at 11:28 you get rich.
So is it legal to run a trail cam, like just out facing the water?
Yeah, why not?
I would wonder if I would love to, and I don't care what lake it is, and I don't care what it is.
And we don't even have to know the name of the lake.
We don't even have to know the name of the lake. But I would love to, that would be the best way to do that footage, is to run a trail cam for the 128 hours, and then you can literally fast forward it. And if you do it at the right angle, you can tell if they caught one there, what happened, anything, and then you could put the numbers together for that. If you live on a house or know a guy who lives on a house who has a dock on the point or something like that.
Right. It would be really cool because especially with docks, I mean, think about this. If it's spring, more fish are moving in. They're going to keep moving in if it's spring, right? So let's say the spawn is over, and then you're going to have some residual fish holding on those docks, because that won't be the main gig after the spawn, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would be so interesting to find out if the first dude who gets there in the morning catches them, and then nobody gets one there the rest of the day. You know what I'm saying?
It would. Or it would also be interesting to see if 9 guys fish it the exact same, but the 10th guy goes behind and pulls down and skips under the dock and literally picks it apart, if he's more likely to catch one. Or if it's just, hey, hey, the 7th guy who made a cast to that post, there happened to be what you talk about on your day 4 is an intersection of the bait fish and a fish that lives on that dock, and he was feeding, and boom, he caught it. Like, if there was a reason, if you could figure out, or a guy came in and you're like, oh, everyone was flipping a creature bait or throwing a chatterbait around this dock, and this guy came with a weightless fluke and caught one.
Right. That would be so cool. That would be so informative.
A live camera feed to the biggest community holes on the lake would be, I would tune in daily, says Clay. It'd be like bird watching.
Oh, yeah. Just like we're bass watching today.
Yeah. Make an app. Call it Karen Cam.
Karen Cam.
But I would even like a laydown, Frank. I mean, you've done entire shows. We've done weeks of shows on how to approach a laydown.
It would be so, Matt, that would be so cool, dude.
It'd be scientific.
It would be.
Now, I also don't want people filming me while I fish. So I also understand that. That's why it's not.
Oh, that could be the legal factor.
Yeah. Well, I also know, so behind the scenes, there's been numerous guys, Arkansas River, little sloughs, sneaky holes, where guys have been going in and practice checking it. And they're like, by God, that's a trail cam right there. And what it was is someone else in the tournament puts up a trail cam when they're locals because they want to know who else is going into their juice for the tournament.
I gotcha.
So there's been a couple of those instances where the guy goes, that's old Jim Bob. He's known for that. And they go up and they're like, hey, Jim Bob, I'm going to catch everything back here. Have a good day. And then they go back and continue to fish.
Yeah, that's dirty pool, man.
That's what I'm saying. So if you would have to do it on something that a lake you don't fish, you have no desire to, you're not fishing, that a tournament, you know what I mean?
Right. So a neutral body of water. It's kind of wild. I mean, it's kind of it would be a great study. I mean, it would be a great study.
Mm-hmm. He said, I know spots that don't get like 16 hours a day. Someone's on it.
Yeah. Same here. Same here. And the adage community hole drives me up a wall in a bass tournament. And I'll tell you why, because I had this argument with powers to be at Bass. I said, you set a precedence if you call a spot a community hole, because what's the reason that you have boat numbers and staggered boat flights? And that's so you could get to a place first on a given day, depending and predicated on your boat draw. I said, well, if you call a spot a community hole and guys can just pull right up on you if you're there first, then what's the point? Just let everybody go. You know what I mean? What's the point? Because there's no benefit to having a boat draw if Matt, if you go somewhere and you beat me there and I pull right up on you boat to boat and say, too bad, so sad, we're fishing together. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my spin on that aspect of it. I don't know how we got. Community hole. Yeah, community hole.
Community hole and filming it and all that. It's a hodgepodge show today. We're just like catching up, covering a bunch of different topics.
It's okay.
I enjoy these shows the best.
Because you never know where they go. They have a mind of their own.
Dude, there's got to be a way to do that. That would be so fascinating.
I think it would be insanely fascinating. Like, I am now thinking in my head of lakes that I know where I can do that. But I couldn't sit on the lake and not fish for umpteen hours and watch a spot.
To shoot. Yeah, no, but if you put a camera out there and then you could just, run it on 6X, and then every time a guy's there, you just sit down, you go, okay, this guy made 11 casts. He was throwing a moving bait and he caught one fish, and then you record his track on how he went around it. And then you do that with every bass boat that comes down. You give him a different color track. You put X's and bullseyes. And by the end of the day, you've got an idea. If you're like, hey, the back left corner of this thing, because there's a cable, and in order to get around it, you have to go between the docks, and it's a one cast deal. Only 3 guys out of the 60 hit this spot on the dock.
I have a perfect example of that, Matt. So the lake that I was actually on the other day, back in the day when I was still fishing a lot of local stuff, I had a spot. It was a channel swing point. Okay. So the point was made because the channel swung up against it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the high spot went out with the channel as it turned away from shoreline. So the channel went out to the middle of the lake. So it made this point. So clearly if you're facing the point, the right side of the point was the channel break. Okay, if you were on the bank, fishing the channel bank and following the channel swinging out, okay, then the point would be in front of you, okay, offshore a ways, but in front of you. So I had pulled up on there and I caught a fish. I caught one fish. Actually, it was a smallmouth. I caught one smallmouth, and I was out in the main lake, and I was casting up the point towards the bank, and I caught a smallmouth. I fought him in. I saw a couple come with them. As most often with smallmouth, you're always going to pull some with when you hook.
Yep.
So I was practicing, so I didn't want to get goofy with it, but I made a couple more casts and I couldn't catch another fish. And I go, man, I know there's more fish on here. I took my boat against the bank where the channel swung against the bank, and I literally beached my boat on top of this thing. I turned around and cast to the middle of the lake, and I could catch them every single cast simply by reversing my casting angle out, throwing over deep water and bringing it up the point instead of sitting in deep water and cranking it down the point. And so I never forgot that. So on this lake, I reverse cast anytime I have the opportunity. Some of the structural elements won't give you that opportunity, but the ones that do, I do that because I've seen this happen a lot. And so fast forward a couple years after that, a buddy of mine, really close friend of mine, said, "Hey, I got a tournament on Lake X. You want to spend a day with me? I got to practice for it." I said, "You won't need a day on that lake." And so we went out, and I said, "Here, dude, here, take this bait." I said, "Take this bait, throw up there." And he's
Mm-hmm.
cranking and cranking and cranking. He goes, "Skay, they're not here." And I said, "Watch this." And I idled my boat around, beached it. I said, "Now cast out there towards that." And I showed him an object on the opposite shoreline. I said, "Cast out there and towards that." First cast, he's got one. He goes, "Are you kidding me?" I go, "Throw another cast out there." He caught another one. And I said, "You better stop. We better not catch any more because you're fishing a tournament here, bud." And he goes, "One more." I go, "Cast out there." And he caught another one. And so he goes, I can't believe that's true. I said, "Okay." I motored the boat back out. I said, "Fish away, bro. Cast up on top of the thing, fish away." Never caught another one. And it was only the one, it was only that one
Mm-hmm.
angle, and you could not catch him doing anything else. And the funny thing was that when I fished it, the first time I figured it out, I was in the tournament, and there was a guy on it fishing it conventionally from
Mm-hmm.
shallow to deep. So my non-boaters goes, well, actually it was a team tournament. So my buddy goes, "What are we going to do?" And I said, "We're just going to wait. He's going to leave. He ain't catching nothing doing that. He's going to leave." So sure enough, he leaves. I idle right over, put my boat up on the bank, and we plastered him. We absolutely plastered them. We won the tournament, by the way, but we didn't. We called some of those fish out on another spot, but we won that event. It was unbelievable.
It is amazing, like the really good offshore guys when you jump in the boat, because I've been in the boat with a bunch of really good fishermen, just part of the job, right? You're like,
Yeah,
I don't know how I ended up. They will literally see a guy two football fields away, look at their map, look at him, and go, "We'll come back. He's sitting on top of him. He's not going to catch anything."
yeah,
And
100%.
then like roll back, and it's amazing. Like you're one of those guys. Like you can look at another boat and tell what they're on, and if they know what they're doing, and if they're basically going to catch anything there.
Hey, when this 4th of July, when my daughter's boyfriend and her were at home, I took him fishing for a day, and same exact thing. I was ripping down the lake. I said, I got a spot. You could fit you. We could fish. You could catch him. He's not a he loves fishing, but he's not casting acute yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
So
enjoys the process, not refined.
Correct. So I said, I got an offshore spot. We'll whale on them, and all you got to do is cast out where I tell you. And he's like, cool, let's do it. So I rip down there in the morning, and as I'm running up to it, I see a guy on it, and I go, expletive. We're passing it up. We're coming back as soon as he leaves. And I ran to another spot. Okay. Well, as soon as I get to the other spot, we catch a couple, and this guy picks up and leaves. And I go, come on, we're going over there. Because the guy came ripping past me, going all the way up the lake. And as soon as he got out of sight, I'm like, let's go. We're going back. He goes, well, that guy was just fishing it. I go, he wasn't fishing it right. And I pulled up on there, and no kidding. We caught probably 15 or 16, like immediately when we pulled up on it. And he goes, I can't believe that. I go, yeah, they're funky the way they're sitting on this thing. And if you're not, and that's just, that's how structure fishing goes. That's just how it goes.
The other thing that would be cool is you have a structural element, and it's, the mapping is there. You know exactly what it looks like, and you take like 10 really good offshore fishermen
and see how they attack it.
Yep, and they each get 30 minutes on it, and you track their GPS, you track what they throw. It's not so much if they catch them or not, but it would be interesting to see how some of the best in the world offshore do it, and how similarly they approach it, what each of them does, what they throw, and then you give another 10 forward-facing sonar, and you see how they approach it. You give them the exact same thing, but one guy has 2D and
no forward facing
side imaging, and then the other guys have forward facing. Because I can't tell you with the scope how many times I've ended off in BFE because I followed my contour and stuff, and I look down and I'm like way off of my nav chip, but I'm still following the stuff out. Other times it's like dead on, but I would just be interested to see how similar the tracks are on top level talented anglers offshore.
Yeah. So when I'm approaching here, listen to this. So when I approach a structural element, a lot of times on the map, it's only a representation. The maps are getting better now because they have sonar chart and live stuff available that people send in after they map something. So they're getting a little bit more accurate. So what I do is I got my 2D sonar is split in half. I got my topo map on one side. I got my 2D sonar on the other side. And I'm always watching my 2D sonar. I'm not even paying attention to the map. I slide up on it a little, slide off of it, slide up on it, slide off of it. And so what this will do for me is I'll see where the structural element starts to come up. And as it starts to come up, then I move the boat out a little bit. And then I'll do a little more. And as it comes up, I move the boat out a little more. So what happens at the end of the time I'm working around the structure is I look at my track line, and then I can see where that break goes. So on the map, it just might be like a little, curve, but on my track lines, it's another point that comes off of that structure. And so that's what I do with 2D. But you're 100% right.
I would love to do that. I bet you haven't seen what's going on with this mapping, have you? Have you been like what's happened over the last couple years? Like what you can actually have on a unit now?
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of it. Not a lot. I know you can
look at this stuff.
I know you can make your own map.
Look.
Oh yeah, that 3-dimensional stuff is ludicrous. I mean, that's just ludicrous.
It's wild, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I personally like a topo map better than the 3-dimensional look. I see my topo map like that picture looks, but it's easier for me to decipher, and so I like the topo map better. But it's unbelievable. But you have to understand, unless that's done with like echo sound, how accurate is that? I mean, how much of it's AI generated and how much is really accurate?
Yeah, that's a valid point. It looks cool though.
It looks great. It looks really good. But see, let's say you're following one of those ridge lines and it changes and it's not like it is on the map. That 3D map could confuse you. Where your 2D map, your topo map, it's just you're looking at contour lines, and so your track line will actually show you where the real deal goes. But I agree with you with live scope, dude. I love structure fishing with live scope because I just turn the head of the unit around and I'm like, oh, there it goes. It's going out that way.
And I find this, and then all of a sudden you're way out and you look up and you're like, man, I'd have never even been out here but I mean, it takes a skill to follow it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like absolutely. I like to start at the base of a point and literally like work my way around the entire point. And sometimes you look down and you're like dead nuts on.
Right. And sometimes you're going, ooh, it hooks to the right.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Or it saddles. It drops off and then the saddle comes up off of it.
I'm all over the map today. Did you do all the matte colors? Because I'm looking at all the Banking Creek stuff on here. All those?
Not the grasshoppers, but all the crayfish ones.
Okay.
All the crayfish ones I did. You know, this Rebel Craw, dude, I used to throw this thing a ton. I mean, a ton.
I think we all did. I think we all did, Frank.
And the whole trick to this bait was I fish it in like from 2 feet to 6 feet. You could probably get it down 7, maybe even 8. But I fish it 2 to 6 because with this is the D76 size, by the way. This is the big build one. All right. The D76. So with this bait, my whole trick to that bait was I always wanted it rooting in the rocks. Okay. And I wouldn't necessarily always burn it back in, like when it's digging and grinding. Sometimes I would because that's what the bass wanted, but I would crawl it down there and it would walk around and, you know, over and through the rocks. And it was a go-to. Like that Rebel Craw was a go-to for me. And the weirdest thing, dude, over the course of time, I kind of got away from it. And I just threw a bunch in the boat last week when I got the Matt series. I just threw a bunch in the boat because I'm going back to it. I used to catch so many bass on it. Like I even got my originals, the old ones with the weight in the bill and everything. I got all of them. And I'm going back to it because there's certain baits that you get away from that. Why would you go away from them when they flat out catch fish? Mm-hmm. You know, I don't understand that. So I'm going to give them a fair shake this season and next season. I'm giving them a fair shake because if I do the damage on them again, they're staying in my boat. I'm not taking them out.
I have a lure net Pradco. I have a concept, an idea. I would like to see they have like the frog only tournaments or whatever. I would like to see a Rebel critter only tournament.
Like the cricket hoppers and stuff, or
like to where you can use.
Is this considered a critter bait?
Absolutely. To where you can use. Look, I'm just throwing this out there. This would be an awesome tournament. You use the grasshoppers, the craws, the bumblebees, the psycho frog, whatever that is, where the whole legs spin like a horror movie. The cricket. The popping cricket, the tubby frog, you got hellgramites, you got all sorts of cool little Rebel baits that would bring back a lot. More frogs. I think that'd be cool.
It'd be slick. It would be slick. They have tournaments, not LureNet, but they have tournaments that are one bait only tournaments.
Yeah. Well, they used to do, I know Spro used to do a frog, or they still do a bunch of frog only tournaments, but guys started winning the frog tournaments by putting a 2-ounce punch weight and pegging it in front of the frog and then punching them. So they have like, they had to make a deal that was like, hey, like no punching. Like
it has to be conventional.
Like a frog. Yeah,
conventional. Dude, that's a good idea.
Yeah, well, I mean, if the bite is tough and you've got 500 boats on the lake that are all beating up the cheese, like, yeah, you can, punch it in, and how much of that's a reaction bite?
Oh yeah, 100%. And the bass is like, look at that dumb frog swimming right at me.
Yeah,
I gotta eat him.
Sean did it. So, like I said, I'm not sure how we're gonna do the shows. We're wrapping up today's show here. No show next Thursday. That is the day, the 26th. That is the day of the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame, and then the 3rd, I will be in Japan. We might get Frank on the 2nd or the 3rd, depending on when I do the shows from Japan. But if we don't, the next signature color, what day does that drop in October? This
first Thursday.
The first Thursday. So that would drop the 3rd. I'm not exactly like, what time does that usually drop? Do you know? I know it's in the morning by the time our show does.
They try to drop it in the morning, first thing in the morning. So
I would set an alarm for like 6 a.m. regardless of where you are, and just keep checking it.
And don't forget, if you sign up for the the newsletter, you'll get a notification.
Sean says he always misses out. Sean is too good of a BTL supporter to not have your signature series colors.
How are you missing out?
Well, he probably like works, has other things to do. Like if you aren't on it, those suckers are gone within they're usually lasting like what, 4 or 5 hours
at the most. So here, look, Sean, the first Thursday of every month.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's other BTL listeners, if you want to get your hands on a couple, that might be able to part with one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that are buying multiples, which I'm curious I can't wait for the trading game after this is over to see, the trading, the swapping going on. Hey, I got, Tiger Craw, but I need St. Clair Red or something like that.
There is one of your baits on eBay, Rusty Buckets.
I'll be darned already.
$24.99.
Okay.
But that's it, just one.
Guys are hanging on to them. They're going to wait till after the final drop. Mark my words.
Sell the whole set. Oh, here's one right here. Here's a Norman Fat Boy. Oh, this one has bids on it.
Ooh, this
is the charbroiled one.
Oh, I wanted that in the catalog so bad. I was so mad it turned into a signature color.
Yeah, $24.99. So there's 2 on eBay.
There you go. There'll be a lot more as the series starts to come to a conclusion. There'll be a lot more, probably. I don't think guys. I think if guys really want a full collection, if they look for the ones they're missing, they'll find them.
I would agree. Also, like I said, tomorrow, Friday, the September 20th through the 26th, the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame auction, bassfishinghof.com. You can there's all sorts of trips on there, like a bunch of badass trips, bunch of awesome baits, bunch of jerseys, stuff you can get your hands on. I really ask for like donations money twice a year, once for the Hall of Fame in fall, and then St. Jude, which is in May. So
that's good.
But what's your over, like, let's do closest to the pin on how much in the silent auction this goes.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not jinxing it, Matt.
Okay. That's fair.
It's a cool idea and I would love to take a stab at it, but I'm not going to jinx it.
Okay, I won't do this. I won't do it either.
Cool.
All I know is you've got some loyal Day 4 listeners, and I think there might be more than one that would like that in their man cave.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. When I made it, I was like, man, I should keep it. You know, but anyhow, anyway, that's all I can say about that.
All right. Well, when do you get out on the water next to get some redemption? It's not like you to get on the pond and not smash him.
Yeah, I'm really, it's really hit me hard, actually. I feel like I wasted an entire day.
I know, but when do you get redemption?
Man, I don't know. It's not going to be soon enough. I promise you. It's not going to be soon enough. We're supposed to get some weather coming in. I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Ooh. A long one then.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't give a crap if it was, raining and not raining and drizzling and not drizzling, but I mean, a couple of those days we're supposed to get an inch of rain.
Good Lord.
Yeah, so the Steelhead will be making their run up the river.
Oh yeah, that starts.
Yeah.
How long does that last?
All winter long through the spring, because there's
I might have to come up and get in on some of that.
Dude, you will lose your mind. We could fly fish for them, or we could throw square bills on them. It won't matter. We will absolutely crush them.
Is it frowned upon if you're square billing instead of purely fly fishing for them?
Do you think I care?
It's square bills. It is, right?
It's right. I could care less, man. All I throw on them is a C77 Big O, and they knock the fire out of them. No. Moon Eye, Shad, and G finish.
Yeah, I'm in on that. I'll trade you a couple days of jumbo crappie and a 30 rack of largemouth for a couple steelhead. Yeah,
we're in. And if you want to fly fish for them, I got a ton of fly rods. We can make it work.
To me, like all the fish that I've hooked on the fly rod, like I enjoy the intricacies of the fight. With the fly rod, it's like, don't get your finger caught in the line, watch your knuckles, and then you like hold on. Like I don't know it well enough to like enjoy it, right?
Oh, dude,
like it's just like, oh gosh, like what do I do with all this line? And then you can't do anything, and then there's like no drag on it. So like I like the intricacies of being able to, have that drag just on the edge of breaking off, but enough to where it can run.
Yeah, cool. I'm in.
Plus the casting thing is a totally different skill that I'm not very adept at.
We'll get you smashing on them. Yeah, you'll just freak out.
Are those release fish then, or you smoke one of them?
I let them all go. Yeah. But I mean, if you want to smoke one, I mean, we're catching them right now on the main lake.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming in close enough where we could crank for them right now on the main lake. So
that's exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Good show today.
Hey,
check out
safe travels, dude.
Thank you. I'll be on the beach this time tomorrow.
Outstanding.
Just for like 2 days. It's not like a vacation deal.
All
right, check out lurenet.com. All of the solar flare colors, the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame jitterbugs that Frank painted in the 3 custom patterns still available out there. All the matte finish. Yeah, for the Hall of Fame.
And solar flare.
Yep.
You know what? We're going to give some of these away.
Okay.
Next time we go live, we'll give some away.
I like that.
All right.
All right. This has been another edition of Day 4 with the man, Frank Scalish. We'll talk to everyone later. See ya.